Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the seventh round of the JAG Sunday Series and the final round before the holiday break that takes us all the way through to January the 7th of 2024. Tonight we head to the Zandvoort circuit in the Netherlands for what should be another very interesting Grand Prix. Hotspot on the call with you once again. Another full grid here in JAG, and that is something that you just love to see, really. If you remember last time out, we had our reverse championship sprint event at Monza actually went quite well. There was a lot of fun in that Grand Prix, and here we are again at what is, a very old style F1 circuit that's been kind of remolded and modeled into something that can support this new generation of cars. And these definitely this most previous year, 2023, put on a very interesting Grand Prix, very exciting Grand Prix, one of the best of the year, which I think a lot of people would agree on. Which was slightly surprising to me. The weather did play an impact in that. We're going to hope and see that. We're definitely going to find out if we get weather here shortly. I'm hoping not, because I do love the this grid and all it has to offer when we do have clear racing conditions. Because these guys are some of the most talented drivers I've seen in all my over 100 and something casts on F1 games. But so here we are, nice clear day at the moment. Full 20 cars on the grid. Let's run you through our drivers and constructor standings right quick. Have I been pinged? No, I haven't. Okay. As far as the driver standings are concerned, Reimer still has the lead at 127 points. Jag Chebin second in the Alpine at 90. Marsbar third at 84. Maple Ace at 80. Lewis 76. Stims 70. Baniklash 68. Fear Luke 65. Patrick 63. He's actually tied with Jake Snow Wolf at 63 apiece, and that rounds out your top 10 as far as the constructors are concerned. Williams atop the table by 5 points over Mercedes, 169 to 164. Ferrari in this as well at 163. We got a huge battle going on at the top of the table, and that's going to be something definitely to look out for here towards the latter end of the season. Haas in fourth at 152, only a point ahead of Alpine at 151, Aston Martin 127, AlphaTauri 122, Red Bull 107, Alfa Romeo 97, and McLaren at a kind of a disappointing 50 for them, because I tell you what, that McLaren team has some talented drivers. The fact that they haven't been able to string together the results, slightly unfortunate for them, but... Sorry, I'll shut my phone notifications off here. We're on board with DW here as he makes his way into the Hans Ernst corner on his out lap here. We'll take you through the lap. Fun little couple of corners, that. Definitely one to look out for in the race. In towards Kumo now, turn 13, and finally Arie Lundijk, the final corner before the straight. And as you just have noticed, that DRS section has been expanded even before the large banked corner of turn 14. But down the straight, in towards Tarzan you go, the first corner on the track. Very fun opening corner. You can definitely get 2-3 cars side by side through there. In towards Hugenholtz now, the heavily banked turn 3. That's always a fun one. Exit of the corner, got to be careful. Oversteer's definitely possible through that section. In through Rob Slotmaker now. The Slopemaker, I don't know, I probably pronounced that incorrectly. But this first sector here, very narrow as far as, actual racing room. In through turns 8, 9, and eventually 10. This turn 9 here, quite difficult. And then the winding left-hander of turn 10. Sets you up for the DRS now in towards Hans Ernst. Not the most, busy, active DRS zone, that one, but it's definitely important. Through the 90-degree right-hander of 11, and then back towards the bottom line through 12. Exiting that corner nicely in towards Kumo, this one here, and then Arie Lundijk to round off the end of the lap here. The 17-degree banked final corner. If you are a fan of NASCAR, you at least are aware of that, as DWCJ goes 109.965. That's the equivalent of Kansas Motor Speedway. Now, I realize this is a majority European league, so it's a kind of... I'll do my best to kind of explain why these banked corners are such a hit here stateside. When you got a car like this, let's see Stims here going through this corner. These banked corners allow for drivers to go side by side, and neither one of them have to compromise their line to make the corner necessarily. You think of a corner like Baku, flat on the ground, 90-degree corner. if you go side by side through that, somebody's going to have to lift to get out of your way. It's just not like that with the banked corners, as you see here. Several different lines you can take through it, and it's usually one for carnage as well. Of course, that's always a big selling point in the modern day. But yeah, these banked corners definitely help racing a lot and help overtaking. We see them popping up on the schedule more and more now. This was pretty much the first track like that, but we also now have the, what I believe is turn 12, turn 13 at Jeddah, and then now how they've reconfigured the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi, turn 9 there, the banked left-hand corner. It does very much help racing at both of those circuits, and you can definitely look to see some overtaking through there. A little bit here coming through turn 11 and 12, Hans Ernst. That little switchback there, there's a little bit. You can see the track is a little bit higher on that end. You won't typically see cars go through there like that, but sometimes through Hugenholtz turn 3 and through Kumo and Ari Lundijk here, you will sometimes see drivers take the high line. This track actually, I'm actually quite interested how it ended up working, because you remember this last year, 2023's Grand Prix, we did have the weather on their side of the race to make it more entertaining, but it's interesting to me how that race actually was able to work considering how much banking there is. I mean, sure, these cars have, you know, hundreds of or more pounds of downforce than a modern stock car, but you get rain on a track with that much banking, the back end of the car is going to want to slip down the side, you know, down the hill as much as it can. So to see these cars be able to go around this track despite the adverse conditions is actually quite interesting to see. You know, even in NASCAR nowadays, they do have rain tires in NASCAR now. They're only used for, you know, more the road courses and tracks with less than 10 degrees of banking in the corners, the short tracks, Martinsville, New Hampshire, that sort of thing. So you don't see them on display as much. I mean, I remember in the older games, especially, and if we do get rain here today, you will see drivers take those final two corners very, very much tiptoeing through them, because there is no guarantee that your car is going to be safe through them. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they handle the track today. Reimer, who I believe has just finished the time lap here, is going to be coming into the pits here shortly. So far, Baniklash, who was the pole sitter last time out in Italy at Monza, who very much dominated the sprint race, and then when it came time for the full Grand Prix, kind of had a bit of a spin coming out of the second Lesmo in the car. Well, that was the end of his day, and it was very unfortunate to see, but he's one of those drivers that I think really on the cusp of another good result here. Currently, he holds provisional pole by less than 3 100ths of a second as Vanilla is coming into the pits here. He's chosen the medium tires, but he currently occupies P3 alongside his teammate of Patrick 78, who so far has had some very good lap set at the moment. We got 11 minutes and 10 seconds remaining now. Will King on an outlap making his way through turn 10. He's going to be the next driver to start here. Behind him, we do have, is that the Haas of, who is that? Stims, who's on an outlap as well. And the AlphaTauri of Mons at the back. Let's go along with Will King here. Currently a third of a second off on what I believe is fresh, soft tires. Yes, it is. So let's go along with him and see, because I tell you what, I think he, oh boy. Have I... Oh no. Oh no. Shit. I don't know if that's a me problem or the game problem. I'll find out here in a second. Alright, slight technical difficulty there. It appears that my game has decided go to hell. And, well, I'm trying to get back in now. Hopefully, we were about to go along with one of the Alfa Romeo drivers. Unfortunately, the game decided to kick me out of the session, but I will be back here shortly. Let's find out. Hopefully that's... Hopefully everything's squared away. Ah, there we go. Yes. Here we are once again, back out on track. It looks as if Will King, making his way through the first sector here. If he's on a timed lap or not, I can't quite tell. I'm going to assume not, because of the fact that he's got that, he's got his recharge light on. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that he's not on a fast one here. Two drivers that are going to be on fast laps here shortly, that of Bannick and we're on board now with Patrick 78 in the McLaren, a driver who, at the moment, 3/100ths of a second off of provisional pole. Stims in the Haas currently sits P3 at 6/100ths of a second off, so the top four drivers separated by less than a tenth and a half should be very good. Patrick 78 now making his way into Hugenholtz, the turn 3. What I almost describe as a fishbowl corner, considering how you have to really get in there and... well, fishbowl doesn't quite make any sense, but any incidents in that part of the track kind of just fall right down. It's self-cleaning racetrack, as we would describe it. Famously, where Daniel Ricciardo, I believe, had his wrist injury this season. I believe, yeah, he went straight onto the corner. I believe it was the McLaren, in fact, of Oscar Piastri, who had gone straight up the hill and had collided, and Daniel Ricciardo trying to take evasive action and hurt himself in the process. Through turns 11 and 12 now, Hans Ernst, Patrick 78, purple sector 2 at the moment for the McLaren here. Exits turn 12 in towards Kumo and eventually Arie Luyendyk here to round out the lap. Does he take the high line? No, again, he's going to go more towards the apex of the corner. Interesting to see. Across the line he goes 109.269. This is a very interesting statistic here. Before the lap, Patrick was .022 behind Bannick. After the lap, Patrick 78 is .022 above Bannick here. That is a very interesting sight to see. Bannick, however, through Sector 2, I believe that said, was 5/100ths faster. Out of the final corner now. DRS has already been activated for quite some time, and across the line he goes. 109.126 improves by well over a tenth there, and now has .142 back to the McLaren in question. So Bannick, at the moment, looking to take his second consecutive pole position, this time by earning it out on track. The last time was via the sprint race. Well, he did earn it in the sprint race as well. Let's be honest. He did start on pole in the sprint race with the reverse championship standings. But yeah, he did earn pole position. He stayed out of trouble in the sprint race, and he was on pole for the full Grand Prix. Vanilla currently 0.2 of a second faster through Sector 1 as he makes his way in towards turns 8 and 9 now. Got to be careful of the exit of turn 8 here. Those exit curves, number 1, they'll send you for a spin, and 2, it is slightly easy to exceed track limits and invalidate your lap. That sort of thing also applies to the turn 7. Those curves on the exit there do tend to catch cars out by surprise. Vanilla now, what does that say? 3.5 tenths faster through Sector 2. This is shaping up to be a great lap here for the McLaren. Vanilla making his way through Kumo and Arie Luyendyk. Down the pit straight he goes. This looks like a very good lap here. 8.5, I would say. 109.079. Provisional pole by only 5/100ths of a second. So Bannick has... I tell you what, the door might be open for the Mercedes here, and either one of the McLarens, in fairness. Not rightly sure where Bannick is going to have to make up an extra 5/100ths. I thought his lap was actually quite... I hate using the word perfect, but I tell you what, I thought it was really quite good. And nearly perfect from my eyes. Next out to start a timed lap here will be the AlphaTauri of Mons, who makes his way in towards turns 11 and 12. Now behind him, we've got the Alpine of Finn, who's following... who is it that he's following? Well, he's actually got the McLaren of Vanilla in front of him, who's just completed his time lap. Now on track includes the Alfa Romeo of Will King and Pierre Luc, also coming out here. The top 13 separated by less than 1.1 as we head into the final 4.5 minutes of the session here. Mons on a time lap here in towards Tarzan. Turn 1 takes a much wider line through the corner than what we've seen, but makes his way now in towards Hugenholtz. He looks to have complete control of his car at the moment. 1.4 seconds off the pace, but at the moment his lap looks right clean, has to be said. I think he could easily jump into the top 10 here if he can keep it clean. Is a 10.5 quicker through the first sector. Through turn 7, and again, these couple of corners here, very difficult to negotiate with. Turn 8, got to take it very tight. Exit curb, and I think he's been caught out by surprise, the curb going through turn 8, and he's have to back off this lap. He didn't invalidate, according to my map in the bottom right, he has not invalidated his lap, so he probably could have continued going, but he would have lost any progress he would have made. So Mons is going to have to get that car back into the pit lane, reserviced, and back out on track. He's not got a lot of time, only about 3.5 minutes to do so. Do have the Alpine of Finn not far behind, making his way into Hans Ernst of 11 and 12. Half a second quicker through that second sector. Exits the corner, holds acceleration quite nicely, maybe slight wheel spin coming off of it. Ari Lundijk now, turn 14, exits the corner, DRS activated. Looking a very solid lap here from Finn. He's only going to go P9, 109.651, improves by 5.5 tenths, moves himself into the top 10. Very good lap from him, but only just in the top 10, and a driver that is yet to get himself any closer to the top spot is our championship leader of Reimer, who currently sits almost 0.6 of a second behind. Reimer, last time out in Italy, did not have himself the best go-around. He started P16 in the sprint race, finished P15 in the sprint race, and then, I believe he did make his way onto the podium at the end of the feature, considering he did stay out of trouble, but still very, very close indeed, and Reimer's got a lot of work to do here today at the moment. Will King at the moment, P3, Patrick 78 behind him. He's going to be coming out on a outlap here. Round the line at the moment is going to be one of the Ferraris. I believe it's going to be Peak Hour, who currently sits 2 seconds off of the pole time, and he's come across the line there. He has not improved, so Peak Hour is going to, well, I hate to say it, he's not really got much time left. Got the Aston Martin of Rise coming through Ari Lundijk now. I tell you what, these are difficult corner names to pronounce here. Across the line goes Rise. Does improve by about 2.5 tenths. Only gets, I believe, 1 position that time over Marsbar. Puts himself onto the 7th row at P14. Next up, the Alfa Romeo of Will King, who's not on a timed lap here. Behind him, I believe it's one of the 2 Williams drivers. It's going to be Marsbar, who's going to be coming to start one here. 1:40 remaining. Marsbar to the line. Time started for the Williams here into the first corner. Very, almost Ayrton Senna-esque helmet he's got on. Into Hugenholtz now. He's gone through the first section of that quite deep in, and he's had to take that line slightly slower. What's very interesting is we've seen in real-life F1, those drivers take the high line round that corner. As you can see here, we'll go along with Peak Hour, who's about to... Well, that's the wrong end of the circuit, that. Can we go along with anybody going through the first sector? We'll go along with Patrick 78 now. You see how he's going to go quite deep into the corner? He's going to stick it down to the inside. What we've seen in real-life F1, those drivers hang it right about those Aramco advertisements around the top end of the circuit. So it's very interesting to see how the drivers are still preferring the inside line through it. Typically, being on the outside, you'll carry more speed. But I guess maybe the shortest way around that corner is through the bottom. Patrick 78 was 0.2 of a second quicker through the first sector, as now he makes his way towards turn 10. We've got 30 seconds remaining here. Back on the throttle for the McLaren. Looks on a good lap so far. Vanilla out on track as well. Patrick 78 faster by 0.2 of a second. He will be right there with his teammates if he's able to pull together the rest of the lap here. Finn is retired. That Alpine, that being in the pits, thankfully enough. Coming to the line now, I believe, is Yorkie. I don't know who that was. Patrick 78 to the line, 109.120, improves by 1/10.5, 4/100ths behind his teammate. And at the moment, the McLarens both occupy the top 2 spots. Vanilla is actually slower by about 8/100ths through that first sector, I believe it said. To the second sector, timing line now is slower by 5/100ths. He did go purple through it somehow. I'm not quite sure how that works, but that's what he's done. Banniclash and Will King have done all they can do here. Those 3 drivers separate. Oh, and Vanilla's gone round, going through Kumo, and thankfully there's no driver immediately in the way, but that car has gone straight around the back end. Did not want to cooperate with that McLaren. And now coming through the corner, looks as if, I believe it's going to be Marsbar coming through here. Marsbar, who is not on a timed lap. Next up is the... Are you kidding me again? Dude, you gotta be kidding me. This is actually making me upset, is what it's doing. And now for the second time, I'm having to... Well, third time, actually, I'm having to rejoin this lobby. The game has decided that it does not want me to commentate today. But we will be about to begin with our formation lap here rather shortly. What I do know is, I tell you what, is it? I don't know the grid lineup off the top of my head at the moment, but what I do know, those top 4 drivers separated by less than 6/100ths of a second. And I believe it was all the way down to about P14, P15 within that 1 second mark of the pole time. So we got a lot of competition on the grid here today on a track that's very difficult, very old-style circuit. I compare it a lot to the Hungaroring. If you ask me, it's one of those tight and narrow circuits that you really can't always go side by side through. But this track has made some massive improvements. The racing's actually been not bad. Damn sight better than Monaco, at least. You gotta be kidding me. What's... Please let me join the game. Why does this game not want me to commentate today? It's making me upset, quite frankly. I was really looking forward to our race today. Hoping I don't lose any, anything. Please let me join the session. Okay, let's try this for the 4th time now. This is making me, rather upset. Okay, please, for the love of God, let me see a Grand Prix here. Well, thankfully, the formation lap pretty much finished here, so we're going to get ourselves... I don't even know where to start. The grid lining up here. Formation lap coming to a close. We've got the majority of the grid on the medium tires. What a camera angle this is. Lights are going to be turning on here shortly. 3, 4, and eventually 5. Not one good camera angle to have, and we're underway here in Zandvoort. It looks as if the 2 McLarens got a really solid start off the line. Banniklash trying to hang it in 3rd. It's about 4 abreast into the first corner behind them with the Haas, the McLaren, the Mercedes, and I believe the other Haas as well. On the way into Hugenholtz now. Vanilla has the lead. Patrick behind. Banniklash behind him. Reimer shot way up the track there. The Haas behind of Stims has gotten slightly out of shape and nearly gets in the way of Algieri, as behind it looks, Stims is going to look like he's about to be overtaken here by the Mercedes. Behind them, it looks like Yorkie and Maple Lace have had an incident going through Hugenholtz. And for the time being, everybody else gets away rather clean. The 2 McLarens still atop the grid here. Banniklash trying to find a way around. He's not going to have DRS for at least another lap or 2. Heading into Hans Ernst now. Turns 11 and 12. Looks as if Banniklash is not going to get anything here. Behind them, we do have, what is that? Algieri way outside. Stims barely afforded him any room coming off of the 12th corner. Algieri almost got into the wall just then. It's actually quite surprising not as much contact was made. Algieri now down to the inside, and it looks like he will get the Haas of Stims after all, but that one was very sketchy there. Between the Mercedes and the Haas at that point. And now the 2 Haas cars are going to be side by side going through the first corner as Jaker's going to try to look for the inside line. He's not going to get it. Now into Hugenholtz they go. And it looks as if the Alpina Finn almost had a go at the Haas of Jaker then. Had to back off and is now under pressure from the Red Bull of Fear Luke. Atop the grid, Vanilla has a 1 second advantage over his teammate Patrick. Bannicklash 7.5 tenths behind, and Will King rounds out the top 4. Reimer, at the moment, actually looks as if he might be struggling with his Ferrari here. He's got a second, almost a second and a half back to the Alfa Romeo for the 4th spot, but who's even more struggling is the Mercedes of Algeria, who's very much under pressure from Stims here, making their way in towards turns 11 and 12. Half a second now, Bannicklash wanted to have a look at Patrick, didn't quite have the real estate to get it done, making their way now through Kumo and Ari Lundijk here, turns 13 and 14 to begin the 3rd lap of the Grand Prix. Behind them, it looks as if we got a good battle here. DWCJ trying to make his move to the inside of of Finn. Jag Cheb watching along here as DW goes to the inside of the Alpine. Is he going to get the spot? Yes, he will, but Finn's going to have a good launch around the outside, coming off the first corner, and they're going to be side by side, heading into Hugenholtz there. DW has to back off, and Marsbar is retired on track. I believe he's had an incident there. Yes, he has. It's coming out of Tarzan corner. He's hit the outside curb too heavily. The car has spun round and hit the inside wall prior to getting in towards turn 2. So that will be the first safety car of the day, belonging to the crash from Marsbar, exiting the first corner, and Vanilla's advantage there he had over his teammate is going to be all for naught. I do think it is still too early, especially if you're on the medium tires, to pit for the hards here. We got a 36-lap Grand Prix. Those medium tires are going to be still quite good for some time. I think if you're on the softs, you probably could come in. Oh, so we have another incident here. What's this? Yorkie has found the gravel coming out of turn 9. Are you kidding me? Why? Why? Yet again, my game is not cooperating here. I just ran a speed test. It's not a speed issue. I'm at 66 megs. According to the PlayStation, at least. I don't know what it actually is, but last I checked, we were under safety car. It was the Williams of Marsbar who had gone around, and yes, we are still, well, we're about to get back to green here. So Vanilla has the top spot. It looks as if only about the bottom 7 or 8 drivers decided to come in. Vanilla will lead the grid back around here. Patrick in pursuit, his teammate here. Down the pit straight they go into Tarzan corner. Looks as if the McLarens will remain unchanged, but who will be under pressure here is Bannicklash with Will King trying it around the outside. Reimer and Algieri battling it out here. They're almost going to be side by side heading in towards Hugenholtz. It's not going to play out that way. I think Algieri trying to choose the safe route perhaps, as now he's going to sneak down to the inside. Whether that was on purpose or not, I don't know. That car nearly got away from the Mercedes there, but he almost set himself up a nice move. Making their way now towards turns 7, sorry, not 7. Well, yeah, actually 7, 8, and 9. Oh, I tell you what, that car has gotten away from Algieri there. The back end really almost came round under braking, and that was nearly problematic for the Mercedes, who's going to be under pressure from Jaker here shortly. Reimer in pursuit of Will King as they make their way in towards turns 11 and 12, the Hans Ernst corners. Still atop the grid, Bannicklash and the 2 McLarens remain unchanged. Everyone else behind them has made some sort of moving about. Bergen's up 6 spots. Stims is down 7. And as Bergen and Stims actually battling it out here, coming off of turn 12, that battle is going to result in Bergen getting around the Haas. As just then Jag Cheb, I believe, got his way around the Williams. The Williams of Yorkie is going to go way down to the inside. I'll tell you what, that one nearly went bad as Yorkie was well into the grass, and that is a very dangerous position to make something happen. Yorkie is going to get around the Haas here as well, who's apparently gone ghosted. Jag Cheb in position, and it looks as if he's going to drive straight through the Haas as well, so Stims now down multiple positions. Here's Finn right up against the back end of Rise here for the 9th spot as they make their way towards turns 7, 8, and 9. Well, the Alpine went heavy over the exit curb through 8. Right up against the back end of Rise then. That got very close for Finn. Looks like that Alpine might be slightly a handful now. Oh, and Algieri's gone round no, and for the 2nd week in a row. He goes tumbling down the order out of a good position. Now finds himself in the bottom 5 cars. He's going to have to, well, he's taken the polystyrene DRS sign with him. So Will King now 1.3 behind Bannicklash. Bannicklash 0.7 of a second behind the McLaren of Patrick. DRS is going to be enabled here. They won't have it until exiting turn 10. Finn here trying to look for the move on Rise. He'll try to sneak to the outside. No guts. No real estate for him at the moment, but going in towards Hugenholtz now. Finn really pressuring the Aston Martin here. Finn looks as if, well, I tell you what, Rise's rearview mirror is full of that color blue at the moment as they make their way towards turn 7. DWCJ has been disqualified from the session for ignoring a drive-through penalty. What has happened there? Perhaps for speeding behind the safety car or something. I'm not rightly sure, but either way, that's the end of his day. Here's Finn trying to find the outside of the McLaren here, the Aston Martin here in towards turn 11. And somehow those two will sort their way out through those section of corners. That was very dangerous indeed. Somehow they didn't make contact with each other, and now we have a safety car on track, and I think Algieri might be responsible. Is that car missing its front wing? Yes, it is. Now, I'm wondering how... well, Reimers just picked up 5 seconds for speeding to the pit lane. But I think Algieri... I mean, that's kind of a... It's kind of a lackadaisical safety car to have to come out on track. That front wing must have been right in the middle of the racing line. For that safety car to have to come out here. That's going to be the case. So Reimers picked up 5 seconds. It looks as if we had Fear Luke picked up 5 seconds as well. Sorry, Jake Snow Wolf. Looks like the majority of the drivers took the hard tires on the last stop. Three drivers remain on the medium tires, that being Bannicklash, Will King, and Jaker. Vanilla stays atop the grid on the softs. At the moment, everybody else is on the hard compound tire. With the second safety car of the day out on track, Vanilla's going to come around and probably pit this time, I would think. And yes, that's exactly what he's going to do. His teammate of Patrick behind will inherit the lead of the Grand Prix. Bannicklash here in third, and behind them it looks as if Will King on his way in, one of the other drivers on the mediums. Into the pits goes the Alfa Romeo. I'm assuming it's going to be hard tires here for Vanilla. Yes, it is. Jaker's going to inherit third. Bergen's going to go fourth. Yorkie up to fifth. Will King, I believe, has taken the hards as well, if I'm seeing correctly. Yes, he has. That makes now all but Bannicklash and Jaker on the hard compound tires. So Patrick has the top of the safety car queue here. Bannicklash second, Jaker third, Bergen fourth, Yorkie fifth, and Cheb sixth. Now, a couple of these drivers, I tell you what, we've seen some great battling whilst I have been in the lobby. Let's make that clear. While I have been here, we've seen some great battling, in particular between a couple drivers. Yorkie and Cheb, we saw battle it out a couple of times. We had Finn and Rise battle it out a few times. Just wondering, the case with Algeria, I believe. Did he lose that coming? I'm just wondering where he lost his front wing, because it was definitely off. I don't remember if he was here going in towards 11 or he was coming out of Hugenholtz turn 3. I think it may have been turn 3. I could be wrong, though. Just confused as to how he's spun the car around coming out of turn 10. Turn 3, I understand. That's a very interesting corner to take with the elevation change and the banking to the flat. You do typically see some drivers have that mistake. But safety car on track here. Majority of the grid on the hard tires now, so a lot of these guys are going to be set to the end of the Grand Prix. A lot of them pit early, which you didn't necessarily expect. The Bergen, Yorkie, Cheb, Mons, and Peak Hour, as well as Jake Snow Wolf, I believe, had pit at the first safety car, which I thought was way too early. But according to them, they think they can pull off the the undercut, rather. It's going to be interesting to see. And Nevertheless, always here in Zandvoort, we do sometimes have the threat of rain, so... But if that was the case, I would assume we were going to see some takers for the medium tires. We've not. We've gone straight to the hard, so by my calculations, we're going to have ourselves a clear Grand Prix here today. So Cheb has invited me again. I haven't left yet. Either that or that's just the notifications coming through now, which it very much could be. But for now, I'm still here. Knock on wood. My best guess, yep, and there it is. Safety car on its way in this lap. Patrick now no longer has the support of his teammate Vanilla, who now currently occupies P8. And I think Banniclash is definitely going to be looking to overtake Patrick here, because Banniclash has been very close to Patrick. Relatively in striking distance. Vanilla was about a second, 1.2 seconds clear of Patrick when the safety car came out. Patrick was very much in a problem area with Banniclash behind him. Banniclash now, being on the medium tires, that might prove difficult. But what I do know is that Patrick looks like he's going to have to back up the grid here, as they're going to be entering Kumo and eventually Arie Lundijk, the final two corners, as we're about to get back to green flag here. Remember, Banniclash on the medium tires as well as Jaker. Everybody else on the hards. I would assume those medium tires might be quick for now, but it's not going to stay that way. Patrick does get a halfway decent jump over Banniclash there. Green flag back in the air. Jaker very much pressuring the Mercedes here as they get towards the corner. More importantly, Cheb down to the inside on Yorkie. Yorkie's gone wide through the first corner, as you can typically do with the banked corners like that, but Cheb is not able to sneak down to the inside. We've got Reimer, Peak Hour, and Fearlook. Oh, and into the wall. That's Jaker the Haas. Well, he spun it round. He's missing the end plate on the left front side. I'm not rightly sure who he's hit or who has hit who, as we have now a couple of more cars. Peak Hour and Jake Snow Wolf, respectively, losing the car, the both of them, coming out of Hugenholtz. As we got three cars off the pace now, but I'm wondering what happened with Jaker. Has he ran into somebody? That would be my question, because to have the left front end plate come off the car is actually slightly odd. And the car was spun round the other way, so maybe, I don't know, maybe he's had help from somebody. I'm not rightly sure. But either way, Patrick and Banniclash still occupy the top two spots, making their way through Arie Lundijk now. Down the pit straight they go. It looks as if Mons has had somewhat of an incident there going out of Arie Lundijk. Banniclash is going to take the lead of the Grand Prix, but I think Mons nearly just lost the car. He's definitely had a trip into the gravel. As you can see, the car slightly dirtier than it was. That car has had somewhat of an issue. The top two making their way through Hugenholtz now. Behind them, Bergen trying to kind of poke his head into this battle. He's not close enough. In fact, here comes Vanilla, trying to find a room around Jag Cheb here. Vanilla started P8 after the safety car came in. He's up another 2 spots. Cheb here looking for it on Yorkie. These two have been battling it out since the off here. And now, the McLaren of Vanilla is into this as well. Atop the grid, Banniclash has the lead by 4.5 tenths. And also who's closing in on that is the Alfa Romeo of Bergen, who's now, for I think pretty much the first time within a half a second of the top two cars here. Into the braking zone they go. It looks as if his Rye is going to make a move on Finn here. No, I thought he was close enough. He was not. But battle for the lead here. Patrick 78 going through Arie Lundijk they go. Exiting the corner. Who's going to get the better exit here? Patrick in pursuit. No DRS, but does he have any more top speed? No. It looks as if that one's going to be pretty straightforward there. Cheb down to the inside. He'll get around Yorkie going into the first corner, and now these two are going to look to make it side by side through Hugenholtz. Around the outside is going to look Vanilla, and if he has the traction, he'll make that move happen. No, not quite. He's going to take a lot of the exit curb, and he's actually going to lose the position to Will King, and I'm assuming that was because of the wheel spin Vanilla had going on the exit curb. So he's actually lost the position there after going into it, looking as if he was going to pressure both Cheb and Yorkie. Oh, Will King, the back end of the car has gotten away from him there. Vanilla trying the outside through turn 10 now. Fearlook in this battle. Does he have anything to get past Vanilla? No, it doesn't look as if. Tell you what, that was a very odd place for Will King to lose the car. That was under braking, it looked. Good save, in fairness. That one got right close as Finn's going to get around Reimer on the way into turn 11. That's a really ridiculous place to make that happen. 0.5 of a second here, but more importantly, the battle for the lead, less than 3.5 as DRS is activated now. We've got the Mercedes of Algeria losing it going through turn 14. And that car is on the inside of the track, and he's missing bits of his front wing as well. Fortunate for Algeria, yet another disappointing weekend for him. Patrick under pressure from Bergen here, but Bergen has not had the acceleration coming out of Hugenholtz to make anything happen. Cheb is in pursuit, currently occupies 4th. Yorkie's kind of backed off of him a little bit here. In fact, he's very much under pressure from Will King, as Algeria is retired in the pits, unfortunate for him. Will King all over the back of the Williams here. For the moment, looks as if he's going to be unable to make anything happen. He's actually got Vanilla now down to the inside. Vanilla's going to take that spot. Well, I tell you what, we didn't even see the McLaren even going for that spot, and I tell you what, he's gone straight for it as Vanilla, and he's made that spot happen. Very nicely done. Yorkie, I don't think, has gotten away out of turn 12 very well. He's down to the inside. He'll have the outside line through 13. Good little 3-car battle here for the 5th spot. Jag Cheb kind of ahead of this train, but I don't really see any of these drivers making these moves with the DRS train. But here's Vanilla down to the inside on Yorkie through Tarzan, and it looks like he's going to hold on. Yes, I would think he will, yes. Towards Hugenholtz they go. Patrick now within 0.5 of a second on Bannicklash, but not quite close enough to make... Oh! And Vanilla's gone round! And I don't know if he's had help from behind or he's lost the car on the curb, but that car shot to the inside of the track very quickly. Thankfully, it doesn't look as if he's lost any front wing, but that car now resides P12, and that's so unfortunate for Vanilla, who was having a great Grand Prix up until this point. Massively unfortunate for him. Finn and Will King side by side through turn 10. DRS activated here. The Williams of Yorkie's in a tough spot here. Oh, look at this. Yeah, I tell you what. Oh, Finn's gotten into the back of the Alfa Romeo. They're all going to collide. Fear Luke's in it as well. Oh, that was not going to end well, and it certainly didn't. Oh, and then he's clipped the side of the McLaren. He's in the barriers. That was very reminiscent to, I believe it was Sergio Perez's crash in Qatar. 3 wide, and cars collided with each other, and that was the end of it. Finn got really close to the back end there of Rise. In fact, Will King went quite wide through the corner. Now, it was Will King and Finn who I believe were battling it out. And here's Will King actually now to the left side. The Williams of Yorkie was, I don't want to say in the way, but he was definitely a sitting duck. Will King tried it around the outside. The Alpine of Finn got, well, I'd kind of say squeezed between the two of them, and they all collided with each other. He went into the Alfa Romeo going in towards turn 11. That took the Yorkie pretty much out of the picture. In fact, somehow Luke, he was collected in that, but that didn't receive any damage, and for the time being, he still resides P8. I think he's actually gotten away quite lucky out of that. Quite an unfortunate situation there, but all those drivers trying to make something happen. And again, we don't see those moves in towards, coming out of the turn 10 DRS in towards 11 and 12. We don't see that happen. But what we will see happen here is Patrick down to the inside. And I think he's got a good enough run on Bannicklash to have the inside through Tarzan. Well, he's not going to need it. He's going to have him before the corner. Nicely done for the McLaren, but Bannicklash really close here. Bannicklash not giving up. Remember, he's on the medium tires. The medium tires he started the race with. So the fact that he's able to keep these tires good this long and he was able to hold the lead, it's actually quite, that's quite impressive, has to be said. Bergen in this battle as well. Halfway through the Grand Prix now. Bannicklash really searching for a way around Patrick. He's not going to get it, especially with those worn medium tires. It's going to be difficult to see if... I don't think Bannicklash is going to be able to make anything happen. Bergen's going to be able to pressure him here quite shortly. Although Bergen doesn't exactly look as if he's closing in. In fact, Banaclash was having a good run there at Patrick. But here's Will King to the left side on Rise. Oh, they make contact, wheel to wheel. And deep into the corner goes Will King. And he will spin it into the gravel at the Hans Ernst corner. And unfortunately, the Alfa Romeo, that's the second incident into that corner he's been involved in the past 5 laps. Here's Reimer with the 5-second penalty. In fact, Banaclash into the pits. I thought he was being overtaken there. Reimer now down to the inside on Fear Luke, heading for the first corner. As to the left side of your picture, you can see Cheb battling Rise. As Reimer is going to go down the inside of Fear Luke through Tarzan. Are they going to make it side by side through Hugenholtz? No, that'd be silly. Well, I tell you what, Fear Luke, something's happened with him because he is, I think he's gotten under the grass there on the inside of Hugenholtz, and he's lost an additional 2 spots, both to Maple Ace and Vanilla. That was interesting there. I think Fear Luke, maybe did he bottom out over the curb going in towards Hugenholtz? It's possible. For the time being, here's Rise, trying to find something to get past Jag Cheb here for that 3rd spot. Both of these drivers on the hard tires. Rise 5-lap fresher tires than that of Cheb. In fact, here's Finn. Oh, Finn's going to go for it. I tell you what, Finn really deep into the corner, gets into the side of the Aston Martin then. That's going to open the door for Reimer potentially as they go through Kumo and Ari Lundijk. DRS activated here for both these cars, and Reimer's going to have to follow that slipstream of Finn. Finn's going to move down to the inside. Does he pick it up from Rise, who Rise is going to look for a move around Cheb into the first corner. Not going to get it. Reimer and Finn still side by side. Reimer is finally going to get him around the outside through Tarzan. Hugenholtz they are now. Remember, Reimer still has a 5-second penalty for, I believe it was speeding into the pit lane. Is what he's getting that penalty. Vanilla getting around Maple Ace in towards turn 7. That's a bold place to make that happen. Good battling here. We got a solid train of cars making their way through the second sector now. It's towards the back end there. That's Yorkie and Mons battling it out through the first corner. Nearly side by side just then. Well, who is side by side? Rise was looking for it. Reimer around the outside. Oh, he's going to get right in behind Cheb. Cheb had blocked that line brilliantly. Reimer did definitely have the overtake. Oh, and Reimer now, I think, collected their Finn momentarily. And Vanilla's going to get around the Alpine. Well, that was a slight conundrum just then we did see, as Patrick now into the pits on the 20-lap Old Hards. So one more stop to come is what it seems, unless has he lost a bit of front wing is the only other way I would see that stop happening, but it is fresh mediums for him. But that there, so Reimer had gotten the right side of Finn. And then I believe Cheb was on the inside going in towards turn 11 and kind of blocked the line, and Reimer was stuck there and was not going to be able to make that move happen, but still, the battle here between these 5 cars is Fear Luke trying to poke his head in on it as well. Jag Cheb the head of this train here. Sorry, that's actually Rise the head of this train here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I think 7 cars in this battle all realistically have a shot at the podium if they can just get through it cleanly. Reimer again having the 5-second penalty, but for the time being still has the pace. Cheb has gone deep into the corner. He actually hit the gravel on the inside of turn 12, going through Kumo and Ari Luyendijk now. Oh, Reimer's going to try to hang it around the outside. Does he have the acceleration? Yes, he does. As now, I tell you what, Vanilla's gotten around Cheb as well. Vanilla's going for it into the corner. Vanilla, I believe, about to pull off a double overtake here, and then the McLaren going way down the inside. I think he had gotten, it lost traction coming out of Tarzan through Hugenholtz now. Maple Ace behind Cheb. Vanilla around the outside, and Vanilla's going to get traction on the outside. And is going to at least keep the spot over Cheb, but Vanilla nearly had it on Reimer as well. And it just didn't end up his way, and that was a very good attempt. We're seeing some great racing here. Getting closer to about 10 laps to go here in a little bit. For the time being, Bergen has a 5-second lead over Rise. I would assume Bergen is going to have to stop again. Maple Ace down to the inside on Cheb. DRS activated here for the Aston Martin as they make their way towards turns 11 and 12. Fearluke in position. Cheb's getting the back end of the car is going to kind of get away from Cheb. That's going to send him down to the inside on Maple Ace. And now Fearluke wants it to the inside of 13. He's not going to have it. Oh, and he's gotten straight into the back of Cheb then. DRS activated here for the Red Bull. He's going to take it around the outside. As Cheb is on his way in. 18-lap-old hard tires. So again, I would assume Bergen and probably the rest of those in the top 8 are going to be stopping here rather shortly. Fearluke within position on Maple Ace. Three-tenths of a second separate Reimer and Rise at the top of the grid. Well, the top of the grid, going for the second spot. Meanwhile, Fearluke, 5/10 of a second behind Maple Ace. Maple's been in a lot of battling so far today, that's for sure. He is, however, losing time to Vanilla and the rest of the top 5. Now almost outside of is outside of a second and a half, and not necessarily gaining either. He's lost DRS. The 4 cars battling here for the second spot. Rise has not gotten a good line through turn 13. Reimer's going to try to take him down the inside through Ari Leyendyk. To the inside he goes. Reimer looks as if he's going to have that spot. Finn wants to poke his head into it as well. Not going to have the room. Patrick's actually got the fastest lap. It's a 1:10.856 as he gets around Will King. Finn looks as if he's actually... He kind of looked like as if he was struggling just then on the way into Hugenholtz. Able to keep the car under control, but a little bit of wiggling about from him. Rise now within a 10th and a half of Reimer here through 7 and in towards 8. Behind them, Fearluke and Maple Ace side by side. Maple Ace is going to get ahead of him by the time they get towards turn 8. That one got dicey. And now is under pressure from the McLaren of Patrick. Patrick's going to send it to the outside through turn 10. And it looks as if, yeah, he's going to get that spot. Maybe a little contact there. Everybody stays on track. All front wings stay attached. No harm, no foul. Vanilla within 2.5 of Finn. Through Kumo. And in towards Ari Leyendyk. I'm probably botching that pronunciation. That's alright. Vanilla now trying his best. Patrick gets down to the inside of Maple Ace. Vanilla trying his best. Doesn't find room around Finn. Maple Ace still right up against the rear wing of Patrick. The 2 McLarens back within the top 6 now. Finn's gone way deep into Hugenholtz, and that's going to allow Vanilla down to the inside. They're going to be side by side. Going in towards Sector 2. Still side by side. Wow. With how narrow that track is through that section, that's very impressive. And now Finn is going to try to head back down to the inside through 7. Contact was definitely made there, through turn 8. Back end of the car gets away there from Vanilla temporarily, and now Patrick into the back of the Alpine here. Remember, the McLarens need a good result here, currently bringing up the back end of the grid as far as the standings are concerned. But here they go. Oh, Rise has nearly gotten into the gravel just ahead. That's going to open the door for the 3rd spot here, perhaps. Well, it kind of looked like it, maybe not. Going through turn 14 now. Patrick looking for the outside. Side by side, around the outside he goes. It's going to be a drag race down into Tarzan corner. Look at this. Vanilla is letting them through. Vanilla's going to lose 2 spots in the process. But his teammate actually gets to that 4th spot. But Vanilla didn't have the DRS. Patrick and Finn did. And Patrick, I think, absolutely being on those medium tires, is the fastest out of the 2. This next time round, we'll have 10 laps to go. Vanilla's going to look forward into 7, doesn't get it. Still holding steady here. Maple Ace under pressure from Bannicklash. Bannicklash back into 8th. Looking for the outside on Maple Ace. Those 7-lap-old hards. Definitely going to be able to make it to the end. Exiting turn 10, DRS activated for the Mercedes here. And Maple Lace is going to defend the line very well. Patrick 78 looking for Rise here. Those medium tires, Surely Faster gets right up against the back of the Aston Martin here. Surely there was contact in that, but somehow they've made it through okay as into the pit lane goes the Red Bull of Fear Luke. Behind them, Vanilla does get around Finn, around the inside. And now Patrick battling it out with Rise for the third spot. Reimer only 2.5 seconds behind Bergen for the lead of the Grand Prix, but Patrick is getting very much held up here by the Aston Martin of Rise. I tell you what, this is getting very frustrating for Patrick. Bergen's done well. He's been able to kind of hold this lead since he took it. Down to the inside, Patrick's going to go for it on Rise in through 8. Yes, he's got that one. So it was turn 9 at that point. Oh, but Vanilla's off, and he's into the gravel. Well, I thought he was into the... Well, he did take a trip through the gravel at some point. That car now down to 9th. 3-car battle here for the second spot. Remember, Reimer is a 5-second penalty for, I believe it was speeding into the pit lane. There's no way you're going to get that one removed via the steward, so he's going to have to deal with that one. He will be losing positions, but for Reimer, at the moment, it's been a pretty solid Grand Prix for him. Only up to 4 spots. Rise up 11. Patrick down to the inside on Reimer. He's going to get that spot well before the first corner. Bergen up 18 positions. Remember, he had the qualifying ban to serve before this round. Oh, well, for this round. Yeah, not before it. So he started P19 on the grid. Finds himself in first place at the moment. Although Patrick definitely chasing him down here. Bergen on those 20-something lap old hard tires. 24 laps. He'll have to come in here shortly. And if we look at the gap from leader on back, yeah, that's going to be difficult here. I think Bergen's done well to hold on to the overcut for now, but he'll be moved back probably all the way down to P14, P15. Unless he doesn't stop. If he doesn't stop, he's going to come out with a decent result here, but those tires have to be getting towards the end of their lifespan here. It's a yellow flag. It's peak hour. This is coming through turn 9 as Chev and Fear Luke leave the scene of the crime. I think something may have happened with those two. Could be wrong. DRS activated here for Patrick. Looks for it down to the inside on Bergen, and he's going to get the lead of the Grand Prix. He's going to open the door for Reimer to get in position as well. Although Patrick, I would have to assume, is going to start pulling away from these two. Bannicklash here. Less than 0.3 of a second behind Rise. This will be for the 4th spot. Eventually the 3rd. With Reimer's penalty, Mons picking up 3 seconds. The only 3-second track limit penalty we've seen today, which is surprising. Peak hour on his way in. As well as Fear Luke on the way in. Again, he pit not long ago, didn't he? Less than 1/10 and a half now between Bannicklash and Rise for what will eventually be the 3rd spot. Maybe even 2nd once Bergen comes in. He's to have a 2-second gap to Finn behind. So these two really in a battle amongst themselves here. Rise is now, for the moment, outside of that DRS window to Reimer. He's not going to have DRS here. Bannicklash is going to have, I would kind of think, an easy time getting around the Aston Martin here. Looks for it down to the inside. And yeah, he'll have that one relatively easily even before they get to Tarzan. So Rise to 5th. Bannicklash to 4th. Reimer at the moment hanging it in 3rd. Hasn't found a chance to get around Bergen. And all the while, Patrick is up 2 seconds over the 2nd place. Coming up on 5 laps to go in just a couple of laps' time. Jaker and Yorkie battling it out there for the, what is that, P12. Oh, Bannicklash, that was a big save. Mons is retired, that being in the pits, thankfully. But Bannicklash, the back end of that car, got very much away from him. Coming out of turn 9. That one got sketchy for the Mercedes. It's 0.4 of a second between Reimer and Bergen. Bergen has now lost an additional 2.5 seconds. Oh, something happened with... What the hell? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. We were doing so good. For so long. Well, I have to sincerely apologize for how poorly this broadcast has gone. Really unfortunate. I have not had problems with this lobby prior to today. I think in the first race I got disconnected but joined right back, no questions asked. And with not very many laps left to go, the game has decided to quit on me here. Patrick has the lead of the Grand Prix. Back to Reimer. We got 5 laps to go. As Banniclash is going to try it on Reimer here. He's actually going to go down the inside. And yeah, that one was going to be fairly easy there for Banniclash, who gets around Reimer with no time left. Bergen 0.3 of a second here, looking forward on the Ferrari. Trying to get closer here. Remember, Reimer on the 3-second penalty. Reimer got relatively close to Banniclash there, but nothing more than just a quick peek. Maple Ace on Finn here, trying to make something happen as they make their way towards Hugenholtz. Got 4 laps to go. Maple Ace trying to find something around Finn. Not going to happen. Will King in this battle as well, trying to find the 7th spot here, perhaps. Those Alfa Romeo drivers have been involved in a lot today. Will King, a couple of times, had some... incidents isn't the right word, but, involved in a couple of other problems. As Finn into the gravel. And now this is outside of turn 9. Actually just speechless right now. This sucks. 2 laps to go. Banniclash coming through the final corner for the penultimate time here. Final lap of the Grand Prix underway. Reimer second with the 5-second penalty. Rise third. Actually under pressure from Bergen. Bergen, who, by the way, 32 lap-old hard tires. And the fact that he's pressuring Rise here, wildly impressive. What the hell? It's actually Patrick 78 in the lead. Banniclash, for some reason, I don't even know. Never had so many difficulties with a game before, or a cast. Like, actually, it's about the 7th time I've had to rejoin the session. This game is just such a heaping pile of dog crap. It's impressive. Haas of Jaker's gone round, exiting Hugenholtz. Patrick coming through the final corner here. He will win the Dutch Grand Prix. Banniclash is going to come home to finish second. Reimer looks like he's only going to lose a couple of spots here. Despite his penalty, he'll cross the line third. Maple Ace and Bergen, look at this! Reimer's going to go down to P7. Rise takes third. Maple Ace fourth. I don't know if this is correct or not. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm dreadfully sorry that I couldn't have delivered the best Grand Prix for you here tonight. I assure you I did everything I could to get back into the lobby as quick as I can. Again, I've never had problems to this extent with it before, but, well, it's going to be a while before we see you again. It's going to be January the 7th. The next time we see you here in the JAG Sunday Series. That'll be at the Circuit Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. With 4 rounds left in the season after this, Hotspot, it's been a pleasure being here with y'all and joining you here week in, week out. Hope you have a very happy new year, and we'll see you at Spa, January 7th of 2024 for the next round, the 8th round of the JAG Sunday Series.